There's a saying that I'm fond of, and if you're taking notes tonight, and I encourage you to do so, maybe grab a success journal. I always say that if it's worth remembering, it's worth writing down. But if you're taking notes tonight, one of the things that I would start off writing out tonight is your network or your network equals your net worth. Your network equals your net worth. You may have heard it said differently. It's not about what you know, it's who you know, right? Relationships are what make the world go around. And so we're going to be talking about how or some different ideas and ways that you can grow relationships, grow your network. And I think that it all starts with understanding the business that we are in. We're not in the negative ion business, believe it or not. A lot of people think that we're in the negative ion business. We're not in the candy business. We're not in the drop business. All of these things are all products or services that we offer. But at the end of the day, we are in the people business. That's the business that we are in. And more specifically, we're in the transportation business because we're helping people go from where they are to where it is that they want to go in life. Summer, would you mind shutting that door for me? So once again, we're in the transportation business and we're helping people go from where they are to where it is they want to go in life. So it's important that you understand the real business that we're in, and it is the people business. I'm going to tell you a little story. Summer and I got involved in network marketing. We started off in our part-time and our spare time back in 2005. And, the first year we kind of dabbled in the business. We weren't serious. We had a traditional business that we paid most of our attention to, 3 young children, but we saw the potential with network marketing. We had some friends that did very well, that were great examples for us. I think if it wasn't for them and their example and their story, we probably would have never gotten involved. And that in itself is a lesson, right? Because people, when you get started with something, a lot of times they're going to doubt you. They're going to say things to themselves like, oh, you know what? They probably won't be doing this 90 days from now or 120 days from now. They're going to bet against you. It's sad, but it's true. And so the fact that, my friends got involved and they were committed and they started to create a story for themselves. They started to have success. And I took notice of that success. And as I started to see them succeeding, I thought, well, man, if they can do it, I can do it too. And I'm going to tell you guys something. There's nothing more powerful. Those words that I just shared, there's nothing more powerful than saying, listen, if I can do it, you can do it too. Your example will be the #1 magnet that attracts people to your business. Your story will be the #1 magnet that attracts people to your cause. So for me, I got started in network marketing. We were dabbling part-time. After about maybe 6 months, we started to get a little bit more serious about it. We made a little bit of money, not a lot. Second year, started taking it a little bit more serious, really started to go after it. But our income was up and down, and we were kind of, we weren't at a place where we could go full-time yet. And then something happened. In 2008, some of you might remember this, but somebody started talking about subprime loans not performing well on Wall Street. The business that we were in, we provided leads to the mortgage industry. I owned a lead generation company. And not only that, but I was also a real estate developer. So I was building homes. And at this time, we had 4 different high-end homes that were under construction. And all of a sudden, they started talking about these subprime loans not performing well on Wall Street. Now, none of us knew what that meant, but we started to see loans defaulting. And slowly but surely, the mortgage brokers started cutting back on their marketing budgets, right? They stopped buying leads. And so our business started to struggle a little bit. All of a sudden, overnight, property values started to go down. And the homes that we were building weren't worth half of what we had into them. And not only that, but my traditional business, I had a lot of family members that worked for me, and I couldn't lay them off because they were my family. So I had to keep paying them because they were my family. And I just thought, this is a little hiccup, a little bump that we're going through in the economy. Things will turn around. Well, of course, as you guys know, from 2008 to 2009, things went from bad to worse. And long story short, my wife and I lost everything. It was one of the most humbling experiences of my life. And I share this with you because I want you to know that sometimes you go through challenges in life to push you down a different path to exactly where you're supposed to be. It's not comfortable. It's not easy. But I've learned that when your back is against the wall, it becomes the best springboard to go and do something new. Now, why do I share this story with you? Because it was around 2009 2010 that we started to get real serious about network marketing. We said, look, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this. We're not just going to dip our toe in the water, but we're going to go all in. And so one of the commitments that we made at that point was that we were going to start networking on purpose. Because to that point, we had an okay sized network, but as you guys know, you can burn through your network pretty quickly in this business. And so you have to understand that if you're going to be successful, if you're going to make a career out of network marketing, this is really going to be the vehicle that allows you to declare your financial freedom day. If that's your goal, if that's your vision, if you really want to transition from a part-time business to a full-time business, you have to understand what business that we're in. We're in the people business, which means you are going to have to become a great networker. You're going to have to become great at developing new relationships and nurturing those relationships and continuing to add to your contact list on a regular basis. And so we made the decision that we were going to network on purpose. Now, it's about 2010, and it happened to be our 10-year anniversary. So Summer and I didn't have a lot of money at this point. We had just lost everything. I was network marketing. In my part-time, I had taken a full-time job, hadn't worked for anybody. I've owned my own businesses since I was 18 years old. So here I am, 30 years old, and I have to go take a job. I was talking to my son about this just the other night. He came and he says, Dad, I've been doing this for a couple months, and I thought that I could, quit my job and go all into network marketing. He's doing a different business, and he's doing well at it, but he's just not at a place where he can take care of himself. And he says, so I'm starting another job over here. And I said, son, I told him the story I'm sharing with you. I says, when I was in 2009 and 2010, do you remember that I had to take a job on a sales floor? I had to sit in a cubicle. I had to make 150 calls a day. I had to do that. Why? Because I had to take care of my family. Jim Rohn says it best. You go to work full-time to pay the bills, but in your part-time or spare time, you work on building your fortune. And I had to work there for 11 months before I was in a position where I could walk away from that job that I despised and be able to go full-time. Now, during that period of time, I made a commitment that we were going to network on purpose. And so it was our 10-year anniversary. Summer and I decided that we were going to go on the MLM cruise. How many of you have heard of the MLM cruise before? It's not a huge thing anymore, but back in 2010, it was kind of the thing. It was put on by Art Jonick and Big Al Schrader, the books that we just mailed out to many of you guys. It was put on by those guys. And so and we just said, you know what? We're going to mix business with pleasure. We're going to go on this cruise so that we can meet other like-minded individuals. There was something like 400, 500 people that were going on this cruise that were all from the network marketing industry. So we're excited. We go on this cruise, and I'm still pretty green. I'm thinking I'm going to go on this cruise and recruit everybody here. That was like my thing. I had no idea that about just going on a cruise or going to a place like this just to network and build relationships. I was going to go there and recruit all these like-minded people into my business. So it's funny story. I came in and we get on the boat, and one of the first things I did is I sat down. We sat down at the bar, music's playing, and how it is when you walk onto a cruise, and it's just a really exciting time. And this guy sits down next to me, and he asks my name, and hey, I'm Travis. What's your name? Todd. So we start talking a little bit, and he's like, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, well, I'm, a network marketer. And I immediately go into my sales pitch. I throw up all over this guy, right? I did exactly what we teach not to do, which is, don't give the presentation during the invitation. Well, I totally bombed this. I failed this. And so after I get done, the guy's looking at me and he slides a drink over in front of me. He's like, man, you're on vacation. You should relax. And I was like, oh, okay. And then later come to find out it's Todd Falcone, one of the top trainers in the world of network marketing. Todd and I became great friends on this cruise. He's one of my best friends today. But it was funny because we go into the first meeting and there's all these hundreds of people that are there, and I'm looking around and I'm like, man, I'm going to recruit all these people. And the first thing that they said is, listen, there is no recruiting. If you get caught even trying to recruit, bring up your business, any of it at all, you're out of the inner circle, right? You're not part of the crew anymore. And I was so disappointed. I was like, what do you mean? I came here to recruit everybody into my business, right? And it was a good lesson for me, because by the time that I left that cruise ship, I'm hanging out with Todd Falcone, Jordan Adler, Jeff Welch, Art Jonick, these legends in the industry who became very, very dear friends of mine. And I built so many wonderful relationships, and we finally let go of the hunter mentality of I was there to recruit everybody and just focused on connecting and building relationships. And I got to tell you guys, that was such a spark for me in my career, because through those relationships, they introduced me to all kinds of other people. I started going to other events, started going to Go Pro on a regular basis, started going to the ANMP, not to recruit people, just to go and meet people and shake hands and build relationships. And I have to tell you that if there's one decision that we made that has impacted our career more than anything else, it is the decision to start networking on purpose and to start putting ourselves in situations that we normally would have not put ourselves in, so that we could start expanding our network. And over the years, I can't tell you how well that has served us, because many of those relationships that I built over those first few years, 3, 4, 5 years later, I ended up partnering with them, and they built businesses that expanded into 20 different countries around the world. So what you have to understand about networking is that you don't go into a relationship looking to get something from somebody. You go into a relationship to give. You go into the relationship to add value. And over time, the right opportunity will present itself. And so, that's my story about networking. I'm going to get into some specific tips, but the first thing that I would tell you guys is to start networking on purpose. On purpose. What do I mean by that? You got to start becoming much more strategic about the situations that you're putting yourselves in, where you go on a regular basis, or what groups that you are interacting in on social media, or, what coffee shops, forcing yourself out of the home maybe once a week and going and sitting in a coffee shop so that you can just put yourself in different situations, in different environments. What events are you attending? I know that there's not a lot of live events right now, but what events could you attend that not only sharpen your skills, but put you into a situation where you can meet a whole bunch of new people? That's what I mean by networking on purpose. So we decided in 2010 that we were going to shift from being an amateur to being a professional in this industry. And part of that was making that decision that we had to figure out a way, we had to find our tribe, and we had to figure out a way to constantly meet and get in front of new people. So you have to know the business that you're in. You have to know that you're in the people business. That's number one. Number two is you've got one of the best tools and resources right now is social media. I mean, I would be remiss if I, was brought here today to talk about building a network and building contacts and developing new relationships and didn't touch on social media. Right now, that's where it's at. I mean, that's where it's at, especially with the fact that we don't have events that are out there. And so I'm going to give you just some simple strategies and ways that you can start to grow your network. But with that in mind, I want you to understand that when you go into any type of initial contact, building new relationships, the goal is not to recruit somebody. It's to build a friendship, right? One of the reasons why we've been able to have the success that we've had in this industry is because you won't outfriend me. You just won't outfriend me. And I got that from Holton Buggs. I heard him say it on stage in 2012 live at Go Pro. He said, listen, if you want to build a distributorship, you first have to learn how to build a friendship. You want to build a distributorship or learn how to build a distributorship, you better learn how to build a friendship, because people do business with what? People that they like and people that they trust. And so I think a lot of people want to skip that first step of building the relationship and establishing the trust. Get this, trust, you've got to first build the trust, and trust drives revenue, right? So you've got to establish the trust first. And some people, when they come into network marketing, they're going to be punished for their past. Some people come in and they have a network that they've built and they do well right out of the gate. Some people come in and they're punished for their past, either A, because maybe they have done some other things that didn't work out and they lost some credibility, or maybe they're that person that's gone from one opportunity to the next, to the next, to the next, so nobody takes them serious, or maybe they just don't really have that big of a network. So everybody is starting in a different place. And I want you to know something. Don't judge yourself or compare yourself to anyone else. Your only person that you're comparing yourself to is yourself. So just know that people are going to progress at different speeds in this industry, but what you don't know is the 10-year backstory. For us, social media became a big resource for building our business over the last 10 years. I still remember in 2009, probably about late 2009, I remember Summer coming home, had a broken knee, and she came home from a friend's house. They were doing yoga next door, and she walks in and she says, I think you should get on this thing called the Facebook. I'm like, what's the Facebook? It sounds weird. And that's seriously, I remember her saying that. She's like, you should get on this thing called the Facebook. So I did. I got on the Facebook. And you guys could go back, like literally, you could go into my history and it'd be embarrassing for you to look at the posts that I used to put up in 2009 and 2010. Like I cringe at some of the stuff that I would say or put out. I was such an amateur. Like I was just like, oh, job, job stands for just over broke, you need to be doing, I was just the cliche of everything that you shouldn't be doing in network marketing when I first got started on social media, because I didn't understand the difference between the hunter and farmer mentality. I just tried to recruit, not building relationships, establishing trust, understanding that authenticity is the gateway to building true relationships, all of those things. And that took time for me. So we got on social media and I started to figure it out. I started to figure out that if I put out valued content, what it would do for me is it would attract people to, I would get more likes. I would get more interaction. Whenever I would try to sell or I would try to push out, I call it push marketing versus pull marketing. Whenever I would try to push out information about my business, I would get less interactions. And so I started to figure out real quickly that if I was going to ever be successful in this business, I had to figure out how to attract more and more people. So what kind of content did I want to put out? Well, I just decided to tell my story and and share my experiences, the good and the bad, things that I was learning. I would literally go to an Eric Worre training and then I would come home and I would take notes in a little book just like this. And then I would turn my little flip camera on and I would take 37 takes to get a 60-second video that I actually thought was halfway decent. And then I would upload it to Facebook. And those videos are still out there somewhere. Pretty funny to watch. But behind that would be my wife, who had a tired arm from all 37 takes holding it while I was trying to get one video that was decent to put up on social media. But I started figuring out that if I started to put out valued content, I would attract people to my cause, but it still wasn't enough because my network wasn't big enough. And I started to realize that I was kind of going through my network way too fast. And so I had to figure out, how do I get outside of my network? And so for me, what we did is we really started to get active with groups and interacting with people that are like-minded individuals that share the same goals and dreams and wishes as I do. So we started connecting with different groups, and inside of these groups, I would meet other network marketers. I would meet other Ohio State fans because I'm an Ohio State fan. One of the easiest ways is to find something that you relate to other people with, because it's easy. You already have a common ground, right? So I would get into these groups. I would interact on the groups. Sports was something that I liked. And so I would interact and we'd have conversations. And pretty soon I'd start to get to know some of the people in the group. And then I'd send them a friend request. And then I'd start, hey, it's great to connect with you. And then pretty soon over time, I would nurture that relationship and I'd express interest on their posts and I'd comment on their posts. And then guess what? I have a new friend. And then pretty soon, you know what? When a new opportunity came around or I felt like I had enough rapport built with that person, I'd say, hey, let me ask you a question. What do you do for a living? Do you enjoy what you do? And then, I'd take it offline and I'd invite them to take a look at what it is that I was doing. But what happened is over time, that became a focal point for me, right? Like if I'm going to be a network marketer, I'm going to be a full-time network marketer, I have to know what are the income producing activities in my business. Well, we always talk about income producing activities like, we always talk about, I call them IPAs. We talk about, contacting and inviting and following up and collecting decisions, right? All these things. But another income producing activity, another side of that coin is just building and growing your network. You've got to do this every day, all the time on purpose. When I first started, social media was not huge yet. Facebook wasn't huge yet. So we would go to coffee shops. And I would go to coffee shops and I would look at the board and there would be all of these business cards that are on the wall. Well, guess who these business cards were? Other entrepreneurs. They were other entrepreneurs that were trying to promote and sell their products. And so I would go and I would collect their business cards. And then I would bring them home and I would email them and connect with them and reach out to them. And hey, listen, my name's Travis Flaherty and I see that you're so-and-so in the area. And I just, I just wanted to introduce myself. And, if I can ever be of service to you, I'd be able to be of service to you. This is what I do. And I'd start to build a friendship and a relationship. I'd send them a referral. Best way to establish trust, send the person a referral. Hey, look, I see that you're in this business. And you know what? I've got a friend that I'd love to introduce you to. He just said the other day that he was looking to sell his home. You're a realtor. Maybe I can hook you two up. There's no better way to build a relationship than to do things like that. So we started networking on purpose. We started going to these events, started putting ourselves in situations that were outside the norm for us. And that made all the difference in the world. And so, pretty soon I realized that equally important to doing all of these things was doing this right here, continuing to grow my network. So on social media, putting out valued content so that you can attract people, but it's not enough anymore. You know why? Because Facebook has these things called algorithms, and these algorithms, they decide who to show your information to. And they base that on your activity and your actions. And at any given time, there's only about 6% of your entire network that is even seeing what you're putting out there in the marketplace. And it's usually the same 6%, and it's the same people. Have you ever wondered why the same people are always commenting on your posts? It's because they're the only ones that are seeing your posts. Because in a very short period of time, if you don't interact with somebody else, if you don't message somebody else, you don't click love or like or comment on their page, Facebook's going to think that you're not interested in seeing their content, and they're going to slowly remove it. And there are people, how many of you guys have ever said to yourselves, I wonder what happened to that person? Like, I was interacting with them all the time a year or two ago. Now I don't even talk to them on Facebook. It's because Facebook has just decided you're not interested in each other anymore. I guarantee if you go back 2 years on Facebook, and you can do this as a little timeline right on your homepage, you can select 2018, 17, 16, 15, and see all the posts that you put up. And when you do that, I guarantee you the people that you interacted with 2 or 3 years ago, very few of them are those same people that you're interacting with right now. So one thing that you could do, go back 3 years, look at the people you're interacting with, and just start interacting with them again. Man, how did we lose touch? You know what? I realized I hadn't heard from you in a long time, and I just wanted to reach out and see how 2021 is treating you. How are things going? What's new and exciting in your world? What are you excited about? But those are the things that you have to do. You have to constantly get outside of your network. I would do things like, go through my former, a year or two prior to see who I used to interact with, people that I did business with 5 years ago. I hardly interact with any of those people today because over time, just things change. They get busy, we get busy. And so you have to constantly find reasons to stay in touch with these people. So that is the stuff that you constantly have to be focusing on, is how are you getting in front of new people? Are you staying in touch with people on a regular basis? With social media, you're putting out good content. You're acting interested in others, right? So one of the ways that you can make sure that you stay in contact with people on social media is just going out there and constantly interacting with people, giving them compliments. It's not enough to just like people anymore. Facebook knows too much the scrolling and liking button. And I don't want to make this a social media training, but these are things that you have to think about as a professional network marketer. Are what are the ways that I'm going to constantly stay in front of people so I stay visible, right? Which is super important. I stay visible, I stay relevant, I keep in touch with these people. And on social media, you have to do it on purpose. Just like we talked about up here, networking on purpose and getting outside of your normal just comfort zone, stepping outside of those comfort levels a little bit. You have to do the same thing on social media. You have to network on purpose. And we could expand into a whole social media training. And I know you've got some great social media coaches here. So I don't want to spend too much time on this, but just even simple things like just before, right before I got on this, I saw that it was my friend Colette's birthday. Colette and I did business together back in 2012. Haven't done business with her since then. But you know what? Hey, Kari knows Colette. So I reached out to Colette and I left her a voice message. I didn't send her just a happy birthday on her page. You know why I didn't do that? Because 381 other people did that, and she'll never even see that I wrote her happy birthday. You know what she will see? She'll see that 381 people missed her happy birthday. And she might try and scroll through and see some of them. So I'm always going to look for ways to stand out a little bit. I want to be visible, right? So I didn't want to just send her a quick happy birthday message in her inbox either, because she probably got a lot of those. I didn't want to just send her a GIF that says happy birthday, because you know what? A lot of people do that. So what did I do? I sent her a voice message. You know why? I know that that's effective because hardly anybody else does that. Takes the time to just send a voice message, and she will listen to it because she'll be curious what that message is about. And all I said is, hey, Colette, listen, I wanted to wish you a happy birthday. I hope today is a special day, and I hope 2021 is treating you right. And you know what? Make it a great day today. We'd love to connect at some point and just catch up. Hope you're doing well. Little things like that. As a network marketer, if you're going to be a professional networker and you want to stay in touch with people, then look at the birthdays every day and send them a voice. It'll take you 5 minutes, but send them a voice message. It's just one more way to stand out and stay in front of people, right? So little things like that. Multiple platforms. This is something that we've been working really hard on, especially in 2021. We're now on Parler. We're now on MeWe. I've been focusing a lot on YouTube and putting more and more content on YouTube this year. Of course, we're on Facebook.
You're going to Rumble.
I'm going to Rumble, getting ready to go. We're on LinkedIn. I logged into my LinkedIn account. I had like 450 messages because I hadn't been in there in 2 years. But you know what? I need to be more relevant. Again, if I'm going to be a network marketing professional, you need to pick 2 or 3 platforms that you're really going to focus on and do them really, really well. So these are things that you need to be thinking about as a network marketing professional. Most people that are in network marketing don't do it. Why? Because they dabble. You know what? They hope they get lucky. They talk to a few people. It's like they have a lottery ticket. And on that lottery ticket, my red is dying on me. On that lottery ticket, it's like a little scratch off, right? They've got 6 little squares. This is what most people do in network marketing. They got 6 little squares. These squares represent people. And you know what most people do? They join a network marketing business and they have like 5 or 6 people in mind that they know would be great at a business like this. And so they go out and they talk to the first person. It's like scratching it off, right? And that person says, nah, I'm not interested. I'm working on something else right now. Okay, well, I still got 5 more chances to hit the lottery here. Then they call Alicia up. Hey, Alicia, got this opportunity. Alicia's like, what? I'm focused right now working on a business super. Oh, man, but Alicia's awesome on social media. She's got this following. I thought she would definitely do this. Well, let me cross her off. I still got 4 more chances, right? So then they reach out to Jenna. Hey, Jenna Rose, you know what? I watch you. You're amazing on social media. Love the way you work and do the things that you do. And you know what? I've got this opportunity. Jenna's like, look, I'm busy with dance right now. I got this going on. I got a new puppy. I got a new dog. I got all these things happening in my world. And there's just no way I can take something else. And then they're thinking, oh, I thought for sure Jenna would do this. So now Jenna's crossing. And guess what? Pretty soon, by the time they get down here and there's 5 left, they only have 1 more. It's like, Mom, you've got to do this for me, please. I got to get somebody into the business, right? Is that not what most people do in network marketing? Right? That's what
I got that compliment.
That's what our son did when he first started. Everybody does it, right? I've done it. Kari, you've done it at some point. We've all been there. Every one of us have been there. I know this because I'm picking on myself because I was this person. So that's what most people do. But here's the thing. At a certain point, it doesn't matter if you build a business part-time, doesn't matter if you build it full-time, but it does matter. You can't build it in some of the time. You can build it part-time, you can build it full-time, but you can't build it some of the time. If you want to be a part-time networker, you want to go make an extra $500, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 a month, it's there for you. But you will have to make a commitment to improving your skills, learning some new skill sets, stepping outside your comfort level. But I'm telling you, what we're talking about tonight, learning how to grow a network and to continue to get in front of new people is everything. It's everything. And this has got to be something that's a priority for you. So because this is a recipe for failure. The lottery mentality, hoping that you get lucky, talking to 5 or 6 people is not going to cut it. You got to get past that. So anyways, social media, that's all I'm going to talk about tonight on that, but I had to touch on it because it's such a vital part of building your business today. If you don't know Facebook, take some courses, take some lessons, get it. There's a training out there for everybody. There's a free training out there with some great mentors that are out there for anybody that goes and starts looking for it. My wife's back over here kind of giving me little thoughts.
No, I'm just saying they should probably consider other sources, not just Facebook.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be Facebook. You could be the best Pinterest person in the world. And I have a friend that's on Pinterest and kills it. You could be the best TikToker out. I don't even, do you call it TikToking? I'm not on TikTok. But you could be the best TikToker out there. And a lot of the trainers are out there training on TikTok right now on how to use TikTok. But you know what? You've got to learn it, and you've got to become those are important right now if you want to be a networker. Now, could you build a business without social media? Yes, but it's going to be a little harder, especially with COVID right now. Social media, if you're not a social media person, I'm going to push you a little bit to up your game, learn a little bit more. Okay. Next, networking groups. This is one of the most overlooked and most valuable resources in network marketing today. Jordan Adler, had a conversation with him not too long ago. You know what Jordan said? Out of everything that I've done in the 16 or 17 years that I've been in this profession, or even longer now, the most valuable thing that Jordan Adler did to grow his business was to join BMI networks. BNI. He joined BNI, and every Wednesday at 7 in the morning, he started going to his BNI networking group and meeting people and developing friendships and developing relationships. And he said over 17 years, he sponsored over 500 people easily through just being a member of BNI. because he's just meeting other like-minded individuals that are wanting to network, that are wanting to expand, they're wanting to grow their businesses. And you don't have to join BNI. I mean, there's tons of different networking groups that are out there. You could start one. What if you were the person that did a luncheon on the first Wednesday of every month for other networkers that just want to network? You're doing this and distracting me, so I'm sorry.
I'm telling you to do this.
Oh, she's telling me to wipe my face. I something on my face. She's over here like doing this to me. And I'm like, what am I doing? So anyways, you guys get the idea. But the key is, so I'm telling you guys right now, if you really want to take your business to the next level, and now most of these meeting groups are happening online. So you can do your meetups online. I have a friend of mine, Betsy. Betsy doesn't have a huge network, but she joined a networking group about 6 months ago. And I literally have watched her go through this transformation. Not Betsy, Beverly. Beverly, I've watched her go through this transformation, and she has all these new relationships and new friendships, and it actually exploded her business. This is just a part of being on a networking group. So that's one area that every single one of us could do. And it's one of the most overlooked things that you could do. So go join a networking group and just meet new people. Again, you're not there to recruit people. You're there just to build relationships. And pretty soon you will find an opportunity to be able to exchange information about what it is that you do. And you know what? You will find people that are looking. The next one that I would tell you, that's number 3. So we're talking about, number 1 was networking on purpose. Number 2 was social media. We talked about some different tips there. Number 3 was networking groups. Number 4, networking lunch. I love that idea. I love the idea of just think about how many other like-minded networkers that are in your area, that are realtors, that are title agents, that are mortgage brokers, that are, plumbers, that are whatever, that want to meet new people. And so you set up the, Reno, Nevada, networking lunch in your area, and you select 2 people to speak from the networking group, and every, and share just a 5-minute message, and then you have lunch, and then you just shake hands and meet each other. That's a way to meet new people. Again, remember the people that we're in, business that we're in. We're in the people business. This is networking. That's what we do. Networking is a verb. That's what people have to understand. Networking is a verb. You have to actually take action on it. So networking lunch is another one. The next thing that I would tell you, number 5, look up. Look up. You know what? Sadly, we do now everywhere we go. The bank, post office, doctor's office. I was sitting in my physical therapy. I had physical therapy this morning, and I'm sitting there, and there's about 15 people in the office. And I looked at every one of them, and they're all doing this. Literally, every single one was just doing this. And then you go to the post office. I was at the post office mailing all these books the other day out. Every single person standing in line. Nobody turns and looks at anybody anymore and smiles and says, "How are you? Are you having a nice day today?" So the best advice that I could give you is look up and smile. Just say hi to somebody. What's your name? Do you come here often? You know what? Just doing those things makes all the difference. I've told the story so many times, but it's a great example. I was coming through the Salt Lake airport. There's this little, escalator that goes down in the Southwest terminal. And as you come down the escalator, right on the right-hand side, there's a little restaurant there. I think it used to be a little French restaurant. I don't know what it is now. But I remember I went in there and I sat down, and the guy came and he brought me my water and brought me a menu. And I just said, "What's your name?" He says, "Oh, my name's Todd." I says, "Todd, Travis, nice to meet you." Now, right away, I've already separated myself from probably 95% of anybody else that came in and sat down at one of Todd's tables today, because I asked him his name. I just expressed interest. And so then I said, "Well, Todd, how long have you worked here?" Now I'm asking a question, right? And he says, "I've worked here for 3 years." And I thought to myself, wow, 3 years. So I said, "Well, you must love what you do." I wasn't being facetious. I mean, it's the airport restaurant, but 3 years? He said, I said, 3, well, you must love what you do. I mean, you got to go through security every day. And he said, "It pays the bills." Now, do you think that does he get up every day and live his life to be able to, just so he can pay the bills? No, of course he wants more than that. I said, "Oh, okay." I says, "Well, what's your ideal situation look like?" Todd says, "Well, I have a communications degree, and I would love to put that to work. I can actually make more money here waiting tables than I can right now putting my communications degree to work." I says, "Well, what else would you like to do?" He says, I really want to travel." I says, "Well, maybe I can help." Maybe I can help, right? I'm not pitching him. I'm not selling him. I'm not pushing anymore. I says, maybe I can help. I'd love to have somebody like you in my business. Now, what do you think the next question that Todd asked me? What do you do? Hey, funny you should ask, right? He's coming to me. Few simple words, he's coming to me. And you know what I did? I looked at my watch and says, oh man, I don't have a lot of time right now. I've got to go catch my plane. But listen, if I sent you over some information, explain a little bit more about what it is that I do, would you be willing to take a look at it? Todd said, absolutely. I says, great, thanks. Go ahead and write your number down. And you know what? He was really, really appreciative that somebody took the time to express interest in him. Most people today, unfortunately, don't do that in the world. Most people today, they don't look up. They don't smile anymore. They don't ask the bank teller, how's your day going today? You know what? They just don't take the time to do those things. But you've got to become if you want to be a networker, remember, you're going out networking on purpose. You should have a goal every day to come home with 5 new contacts. And if you're not going to do it in person, you should at least do it online. 5 minimum, 5 new contacts in a month. Guess what that is? 150 new people that you put onto your contact list. Now, are you going to pitch every one of them in the first month? No. But if you did that every month for the next 12 months, and you put in 1,800 or built 1,800 new contacts in your database, I guarantee you by the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, some of those are going to start coming around where you've built some good relationships and you've established trust and you can invite them to look at your opportunity. So it's all about just networking on purpose. And here's the last thing that I'm going to give you for you tonight. Number 6, by the way, was challenge yourself to make 5 to 10 new contacts a day. And here's the last piece of advice that I'm going to give you. Follow up with every single person that you meet. I'm going to be the first to tell you that I'm terrible at this. But if you meet somebody, the first thing that you should do is come home and the next morning, send them an email. Send them an email, follow up with them, and just say, hey, listen, it was really nice to meet you last night, Kari. You know what? I enjoyed our conversation. If there's anything that I can ever do to help, please let me know. I just wanted to share my information with you. And I'd love to learn more about your business so that I may be able to refer somebody to you. I'm not asking for anything. I'm asking for nothing. All I am doing but here's the thing, the best networkers, and I have not mastered this, I'm working on it. The best networkers, they find a reason to stay in touch with people. You know, Todd Falcone sent me a calendar the other day, a 2021 just calendar book. And I wasn't expecting it. I opened it up and he says, hey, buddy, I just thought of you when I saw this and thought you might be interested in this. Because we talked about some of our goals. And I told him I needed to get a little bit better about doing exactly what we're talking about. And a couple days later, a calendar showed up. Another buddy of mine who I hadn't talked with and seen since Lake Powell this summer, he sent me a shirt. He says, I saw this shirt and I immediately thought of you and I mailed it to you. It cost him $12, but do you know what that meant to me? If he called me and said, listen, I've got something that I think is worth taking a look at, I would look. Why? Because he just took that extra little step. Just that extra little step. It makes all the difference in the world. So my question to you would be, what extra little step are you doing? What extra little step are you doing in other people's lives to make them notice you, think about you, trust you, so that when you do call and say, I've got an opportunity, what extra little step are you doing to just say thank you to people that add value in your life? I'll be the first to tell you, I'm not the best at it. I got to slow down so that I can do these things. But it's those are the masters. Jordan Adler's a master at this. Now, he's in a company that helps him do this, but literally he's a master at it. He sends greeting cards all the time. Summer and I get 3 or 4 greeting cards from Jordan every year. You know, like, hey, man, he sent a card the other day from our favorite restaurant in Vegas, the Paris Hotel, by the way. We're going to be having our event there, and I hope we all get to go there. It's called Mon Ami Gabi, downstairs, literally right there on the patio, overlooks the Bellagio fountains. They have the best brunch ever. One of my favorite restaurants. Jordan Summer and I go there. He sent a picture of the fountains from the patio, and he took a picture of it, put it on a greeting card, sent it, and said, hey, just was thinking about you guys. Hope that we'll be able to have lunch soon. Do you know what that meant to me? Like, I got that, and I was like, how cool is that? Like, that's just cool. You know what I mean? And he does that. He's a master at it. Then you know what? Because of it, he's got thousands and thousands and thousands of contacts and relationships. And here's the thing. He's got a database, and it doesn't matter what CRM that you use. Beautiful thing is that you're getting ready to get one on January 31st that we're introducing a new app it is unbelievable. It's a fantastic database. It's going to make your life so much easier. But my point is that it all comes back to where I started, which is networking on purpose and going out of your way. Just, you got to remember the business that you're in. And all of these little things are the things that establishes trust, get you noticed, separate you from the rest. But all of these little things are things that I am focusing on every single day. When I'm on social media, I'm not just scrolling. and just constantly dead scrolling for 2 hours. Oh, another cat, political post, oh, cat post. When I'm on there, I'm going, okay, there's a post, I need to comment, I need to like this, because I'm interacting on purpose, networking on purpose. So if you're gonna be on social media, be on there with purpose. When you're out and about, networking on purpose. Figure out a way to come home with 5 new contacts a day. Figure out a way to add values in their life. Figure out a reason to stay in touch with them on a regular basis. Make sure that you're sending birthday cards. Make sure that you're sending birthday messages. Those are the things that are going to help you take your business to the next level. So that's all I've got for tonight. I'm going to open it up for questions, comments, thoughts, suggestions, feedback.
I love that. That's exactly what we needed tonight. I think we've been hearing so much about Facebook groups that we forget how easy it is to go out and do the little things. I know that when I'm at Whole Foods or I'm at the grocery store and I've had little conversations with the produce guy each and every time I go out on my way to say hello, or if I go to the butcher and I ask them how they're doing and I ask them specific questions and I make a point to remember them, it means a lot to them. And then you can take that conversation and you can connect with those people on social media outside of their jobs. And then you start leading by example, because when you're shopping in the middle of the day or when you're out and about running errands in the middle of the day, for those of you that aren't full-time network marketers or don't have the free time yet, when you do get that opportunity to have the free time to do things on your time, people start asking questions. I can't tell you how many times I've had hairdressers in the middle of the day ask me, how come I don't work? And things like that. So when you genuinely care and you ask questions and you ask them to listen, not to respond, it goes a lot further. And when you ask them and you remember them, when you see them each and every time, it's going to build those relationships. So it's really, really simple to expand our network. I mean, even on customer service calls like AAA, I have a customer in APLGo that I met through AAA, re-signing my membership up. I mean, it's totally possible. I think that we just need to get over ourselves. We need to start treating this like it's a business that it's supposed to be treated like we're here to help. So why aren't we helping by building that trust and sharing what we're using?
Beautiful. Well said, Sarah. I got to show you guys something, because this is so there's a guy that I've never done business with him. We were in the same company for a very short period of time. He is a top network marketer. We've just never found an opportunity to work together. And while I was doing this training, he called me and I thought, oh, that's interesting. I haven't heard from him in a while. And you can see transcribed what he said. You won't be able to read it. I'm just going to show you. There it is. Hey, Travis, hey, Travis, what's up, buddy? Blast from the past. It's Eric. Hope you're phenomenal. I know you are, and just wanted to check in, my man. Haven't talked to you in a while, and I'm assuming everything is going fantastic. I'd love to keep the connection alive. Whenever you get a few minutes, holler back, buddy. Talk to you soon. That's all he's doing. He's just calling just to touch base with me. We haven't touched base since probably August of last year, and he's just keeping the relationship alive. Now, he's not going to call me and pitch me. He's going to call me and ask how things are going in my life and what's new and what am I working on and what's exciting. We're going to exchange ideas, but he's just staying in touch. He's staying in front of me. Perfect example right there. That's what we have to do. We have to look for those reasons and opportunities to continue to stay in front of people and look for opportunities to do things for people, add value in their lives, send them referrals, these type of things. When you go out of your way, sending a little shirt, sending a little pin, hey, I saw this and thought of you, changes everything.
Yeah, and you can even do that on social media. If you see something that you feel like somebody else would like or it would resonate with them, like send it to them. Like, hey, I saw this and thought of you. Like, for example, it's silly, but I'm in a dog group and there was a really cute picture of a dog that I knew several people would appreciate. So I saved it and sent it to them. They loved it. They were tickled pink. But I have something else I want to add, like integrate, the word integrate or integration. Like this business, like we don't have to set aside special time to do it. We can integrate it into our lives, the things that we do every single day. Like Sarah's going to the grocery store and talking to the butcher and the produce person. You know, anytime you have an opportunity to make a connection with somebody, we should be doing that. Another thing is events. Like I hope we open up again so we can start doing events freely, and that's a really good place to meet people. I don't necessarily always go to get sales. I'll go to meet people, and not just people approaching me, but making connections with the other vendors around me. I have so many other vendors on my Facebook now that I've built relationships, and you never know down the road when, you know, that relationship might come to some sort of fruition, even you know, whether for them or for me, either way. So thank you, Travis. I think this was a really good training. I appreciate your words of wisdom here.
You're welcome. Well, thank you guys for having me. Again, you guys have amazing leadership, and it's an honor to be here, and just feels good to be back, just to be honest with you guys. So continue to look for more and more content from us and more trainings and just more opportunity calls, and phenomenal app coming out at the end of this month. Things are getting real exciting right now. So it's definitely not the time to be letting off the gas. It's the time to be accelerating. This next 90 days is going to put APLGo at an entirely different level as a company. So
Travis, before we wrap it up for 2 seconds, do you mind just, I know there's still about 20 of us on here, just speaking about the importance of us all making an effort to be at the launch event in March?
Oh, it's everything. I mean, it's everything. It's so easy to just kind of dismiss it by saying, you know, the expense or this or that. But look, leaders are born at events. Major decisions are made at events. Every time that I really took my business to the next level, it came down to a decision that was made at an event. Me being at that event, seeing something that somebody said that I needed to hear at that moment. I have never met somebody that said, I really wish I didn't come to this event. But what I have heard 1,000 times is people say, you know what, I'm so glad that I made the decision to come to this event. You know, even earlier on in our career, back in the 2009, 2010 days where I was telling you guys about, where we were really hurting financially, I remember a couple of times, Summer and I made the difficult decision. I went, she didn't, because we couldn't have both afford to go. And she stayed home with the kids and took care of them. And I really appreciate and value that sacrifice. And we used money that we didn't have, either credit cards or, I remember one time we're like, pay the mortgage late so that I can go to this event. And we did those things. But you know what? Going to those events changed everything for us. Just, you never know who you're going to meet, what's going to be said, you know, the decisions that are going to be made at those events. You know, I always just say leaders are born at events. And so it's so important. And right now, flights are not that expensive. Vegas is pretty cheap. I think our hotel rooms are like $49. So I would encourage every single person to make a priority and a commitment to be there. I promise you that you won't regret it. We were talking to Eric Worre today about speaking at the event. I mean, you know, his fee is $100,000 to come and speak, and he's maybe there. I don't want to advertise that publicly yet because we haven't signed a contract with him yet, but just the opportunity to be able to hear someone like him and hear from the other top leaders, and to be able to get, you know, 3 full days of training and be able to mingle with the other, you know, leaders out there and learn and grow and build your network. I mean, it's so critical. It's priceless, the value of being at that event. So I would strongly encourage you all to make it a priority to be there.
They're life-changing, and it's not an expense, it's an investment.
Yeah. Yes. Kelly's raising her hand, I think. Kelly, were you raising your hand?
I'm yelling at my dog.
Oh, I know how that goes.
Sorry.
Listen, I appreciate being here, you guys. I've got to hop off. I've got to jump on another training. But look, I value this team. I value each and every one of you guys. It's time to turn it up. It's time to take it to the next level. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. Sarah and Alicia, super grateful for you guys, as well as I am for everybody else here. I don't want to single anybody out, but I see so many amazing leaders here. You guys are doing a wonderful job. And my challenge to you is start networking on purpose, recommit to your goals, and let's take it to the next level.
Thank you, Travis.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Travis.
Thank you.
See you soon.